Yep, I'm still alive, just like the Mirror's Edge. I apologize for the lack of content over the last, 7 months or so. I'm not gonna give any excuses because it doesn't really matter, but hey, at least long hiatuses are thematically appropriate for the type of content I make. We last left off after some chill time with Guts and Casca getting to spend some time with their son. Unfortunately, they still had to do it separately, but it was still quite heartwarming. This is Berserk though, so the good vibes can't last long, as the last chapter ended with Moon Unit transforming back into Griffith right in front of Guts. Chapter 365 begins with the inhabitants of Elfhelm sensing that some bad stuff is about to go down. Casca also notices that something is amiss and she decides to go check it out, only to be confronted by the visage of her own personal nightmare. Her brand begins to bleed, and we see her face with a look of absolute terror and shock. This image really conveys these emotions so viscerally well. This one page really gives me the impression that the series is in good hands, and I'm so happy that it's continuing. At this point, Shirka realizes what's going on, and she immediately recognizes how bad shit's about to get, as there's a zoom on Griffith's intense gaze through the eyes of a bird of prey. Guts and Casca understandably start losing their respective shit as the gravity of this unexpected situation sinks in. Guts, without missing a beat, rushes his nemesis and reaches for the Dragon Slayer. He begins to shout Griffith's name as he prepares to swing. The chapter ends here. Thanks for watching! Nah, I'm just yanking your balls. This a three-potter, baby! Chapter 366 opens mid-swing, and unsurprisingly, the Dragon Slayer passes right through him with no effect whatsoever. It's true that the Dragon Slayer is able to damage astral beams due to all the apostle blood it's bathed in over the years, but considering the fact that Griffith was able to no-sell Jack Skellington's Sword of Actuation, this outcome was pretty much a foregone conclusion. Guts, not knowing what to do, continues to swing, only for the future to refuse to change. Griffith turns to face Guts with the most "really bitch" look on his face that I've ever seen, and this makes Guts have a bit of a Joker moment. He begins laughing hysterically and, for lack of a better term, goes berserk, wildly slashing over and over again to no avail. Shirka watches in astral form and is overwhelmed by Griffith's evil aura. Parnice then shows up, also in astral form, and she manages to snap her teacher out of her trance. She tells Shirka that they should probably stay the fuck away from that thing, and Shirka thanks her for bringing her back to her senses. I really like this page. It conveys that Farnese is really coming into her own as a mage, and that she's growing emotionally stronger and more confident as well. If she were confronted by a similar situation in the past, seeing her teacher and Guts overwhelmed like that, there's no way she would have been able to maintain her composure and snap Shirka out of it. The character development, as well as the relationships between the different characters and how they change throughout the story, are really my favorite things about Berserk. Though that's probably not news to you if you've seen my other videos. We then cut to Puck as he senses that something else is coming. What that something else is, you may be asking? A certain horned, winged panther man we all know and love. Zod! Okay, Zod showing up here and now is really giving me some hope that my theory of how Griffith could possibly be defeated might actually be right. I'll leave a link to the video I made covering that topic if you haven't seen it. It was actually the first video I ever made about Berserk. Hey, at least now Guts has someone he can actually fight, but unfortunately we're not going to see much of that in this chapter. We cut to Serpico, the kids, and Danan getting ready to call it a day after helping the brownies out with some chores. Those brownies are super cute. The shape of their heads, along with their hairstyle, reminds me of a golden retriever that I used to have as a kid. But that's neither here nor there. The important thing is that I wore an onion on my belt, which was the style at the time. Okay, back on topic. Danan feels a chill down her spine as her supernatural senses inform her of her island's new, sinister visitor. The kids try to figure out what's going on as Danan delivers a dire prediction. She says everything will be lost, and speaks of a great danger. She says that they will spring forth from the earth, one after another, implying a full-scale invasion from the Neo-Band of the Hawk and their war demons is about to go down. Back to Guts and Griffith. Griffith slowly begins approaching Casca, Farnese, and Shirka with a smirk on his face. When Guts sees this, he immediately disengages with Zod and rushes over to try to protect his friends and lover. Griffith slowly starts reaching for the now unconscious Casca, and this pushes Guts over the edge once again as he prepares another massive overhead chop. His face changes to show that the Beast of Darkness is taking control of him once again. But just as he's about to ineffectively cleave straight through Griffith's back, he manages to come back to his senses and stop short. If he hadn't, he would have cut straight through Casca. The Berserker armor wasn't active at the time, but it is still a pretty big deal that Guts was able to regain his control so quickly without the help of Shirka. He does seem to slowly be coming to terms with his inner turmoil stemming from his guilt and rage. Griffith then unexpectedly takes Casca's hand and puts his hand on her shoulder. An eerie wind begins to blow as the ground starts fracturing beneath their feet. Shirka and Farnese get separated from Casca as more and more of the ground begins to collapse. It seems that the invasion that Danan was warning everyone about is already here. This implies that this whole thing with Moon Unit being drawn to the island was planned by Griffith from the start. He and his men wouldn't be able to find the island on their own due to all the magic used to hide it, but since he knew the island would allow the boy to find it, all Griffith would have to do is tell Zod and his men to follow Moon Unit. Something may not be going to plan, however. It seems that Moon Unit's love for his mother may at least be partially seeping into Griffith. As we see Guts stop short of cutting through them, Griffith's facial expression isn't malevolent at all, and his eyes are no longer that of a bird of prey. If anything, his facial expression is one of deep sorrow and exhaustion. The end of the chapter shows Griffith carrying Casca away with Zod in the background and what are probably apostles starting to materialize out of the ground. Man, we got some stuff. This actually opens up a new avenue to defeating Femto and the God Hand. My original theory was that Zod was going to betray Griffith, and this was going to cause him to freak out and do something crazy, leading to his defeat, to parallel what happened when Guts left him. But now it's possible that the Griffith that was reincarnated on Earth may be the one to turn heel on Femto. This is all speculation, of course, but it's fun to make predictions. There still are a ton of loose ends, though, like what's going on with Rickert and Salat. We haven't heard from them in, well, I don't remember when that issue came out, but it's definitely been years since we've seen them. At least 2. And don't forget the fact that we got a bunch of backstory for Skull Knight, only for that to just kinda get dropped. I was also expecting to get a little more about that. The next chapter is set to release on August 12th, and I plan on being timelier on that one. I just had some real life stuff going on when these chapters came out. I really appreciate everyone who stuck with me even though I haven't been uploading, and I welcome anyone new who may have found me through this video. I really appreciate all the YouTube stuff like likes and comments to appease that old and deep fucker that is the YouTube algorithm. Actually, thanks for watching for real this time, and I guess I'll see everyone around August 12th. I'm gonna keep making videos, I promise. Bye.